Hi, let's talk about brackets. What are brackets and how do we use them? You'll find them on your computer keyboard to the right of the letter P. The left or beginning bracket is the first one, and the right or ending bracket is the second. They're on the bottom of the little key, so you don't have to hit shift as you do with parentheses. Brackets are used in a similar way to parentheses, but they are far less common and are often found within quoted material. As with parentheses, when we use brackets, we know something has been added. Brackets are interruptions to the main text. Rule number 1. With quotations, the information in the brackets explains or makes a comment about the quote. For instance, you might read in an ancient text that a king reigned for 47 years and then he died. If you were quoting it, you might write, the king reigned for 47, bracket. Today we would write 47, bracket, years, and then he died. If you put parentheses, it would mean the text used the parentheses and added the information. The person that you're quoting did this, but you did it. So you use brackets to show that. Rule number 2. Sometimes ancient texts or not so ancient texts have mistakes, and we don't want people to think we made the mistake, and we're trying to quote accurately. So we can't really edit and fix the mistake because that would change the quote. So we leave it as it is, and then in brackets, after the mistake, we add sic, S-I-C, in italics because it's a Latin term. And sic means thus, just as, or in full. Sic erat scriptum means thus was it written. So sic is kind of an abbreviated way of letting people know that the original document was this way. We're basically saying this is how I found it, I didn't quote it incorrectly, and I didn't make the mistake myself. You might read, I could have danced all night. Now you might read that I could have danced all night, which sounds the same as it would sound if you'd written it right. Of course, and the person means she could have danced all night because could have, C-O-U-L-D apostrophe V-E, is a contraction for could have, which confuses people and they think they're saying could of, I could of, which makes no sense at all. So if you were quoting the person who wrote could of, you might write, I could of, sick, danced all night. Now, some people might consider this rude. And if you have to do a lot of this, it could get tedious and it might look rude because you're quoting some author who really did a bad job. So it's probably better in that case to simply paraphrase the author so you don't have to do that and point out their ignorance or lack of editing skills. Rule number 3. Sometimes we quote from the middle of a sentence, but we start the quote at the beginning of our sentence. So we have to capitalize the first word even if it wasn't capitalized in the quote. When quoting, we want to make sure we're accurate. So when we capitalize the word, we put the capitalized letter in brackets. If the first word we quote the word, say, is then, T-H-E-N, but then wasn't the first word of the sentence we're quoting from, then we would write bracket, a capital T, bracket, H-E-N. And it's all together with no spaces. That way we're quoting accurately, but we're putting a capital letter at the beginning of our sentence. Rule number 4. If you have parentheses in your sentence already, and you want to add something else within the parentheses, and a comma or a dash doesn't seem to get it for you, then you can add brackets. Do not put parentheses within parentheses. As an example, you might write, this didn't happen to me, parentheses, it was actually, well, parentheses, it was actually my sister, bracket, my oldest sister, bracket, parentheses, period. This didn't happen to me, it was actually my sister, bracket, my oldest sister, bracket, parentheses, period. This didn't happen to me, it was actually my sister, my oldest sister. So you're adding two comments in there within that sentence. And I'm not suggesting you write this sentence at all. There are much easier and clearer ways to say this. I'm just showing you how it would be done if you needed to do it. Rule number 5. Brackets are also used in mathematical equations. For instance, 4 parentheses x minus 2 bracket 2x plus 3 bracket parentheses equals some number. And I think that's all I can think of and all I found about brackets. As I said, we don't use them often, but we do need to know how to use them because sometimes we need them. Thanks for watching. Bye.